And I'm glad these are recorded because I can go back and listen to all of that great information from social work, as well as watch their videos, and now I know exactly who to contact. But our next presenters are from the Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders. This morning we have with us Ms. Sonia Salinas and Dr. Ruth Crutchfield. Both are amazing faculty members who are so student-oriented. It baffles me sometimes what they do for their students, but the level of research and output we have, and they are great resources and advocates for their profession. So I will turn it over to them. You can give us a short overview of the department and programs, and then it's an open Q&A, so I hope you're ready. Good morning. And you're on mute, Sonia.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sonia Salinas, as Dr. Ledningham has said. I'm a clinical associate professor and program coordinator for the Undergraduate Program in Communication Sciences and Disorders. And Dr. Ruth Crutchfield is present. Do you want to go ahead and say hello? We're very happy to be here to talk to you about our exciting field of speech-language pathology. We also like to welcome each of you to our session. We're going to be highlighting the Undergraduate Program in Communication Sciences and Disorders. And we'll be seeing a little video on our brand new program that we're so excited about, our Undergraduate Program in American Sign Language Interpreting. We're so excited to start this fall with. And our graduate program in Communication Sciences and Disorders. So we're very happy to have those programs here at UTRGV. I'd like to kind of tell you a little bit about what is speech pathology. Speech pathologists work with individuals who have communicative disorders. We provide services in the prevention, the assessment, and the treatment of communicative disorders, such as speech sound disorders, that include fluency disorders or stuttering, voice disorders, social communication disorders, language disorders, and a variety of different types of communicative disorders. We also work with individuals across the lifespan. So we work with preemie little babies all the way to the geriatric population. So one can choose which of the populations they want to specialize in or work with all ages in the population. Our undergraduate program prepares students for the foundation of speech-language pathology. We also prepare students for graduate studies in communication sciences and disorders to become the speech-language pathologist. With an undergraduate degree, students can go on to graduate studies in speech pathology, speech-language pathology, or they are eligible also for a license to practice in the state of Texas as an assistant in speech-language pathology under the supervision of a fully licensed speech-language pathologist. And a lot of our students go on into grad studies, but a lot of them go on to work. And the work settings that they work in are pediatric settings primarily, such as pediatric home health settings where they go out into the homes and work with the little kids in the home and work with the families, or in the public school districts, or in private rehab centers, and also private school districts. Our undergraduate program is a program that students must apply and be accepted formally to. We have applications up on our website anywhere from mid to late November, and the application deadline is the third Friday in February of each year. And students typically apply to our program at the end of their second year of university studies, where they've already completed the core and they've completed the 5 eligibility requirements that they must complete prior to applying to our program. A student cohort set of students is accepted every spring for the subsequent fall semester. So if a student is applying in February 2021, they're applying for fall 2021 admission. If they're to be accepted, they will begin their program in that fall of 2021. We have a required minor in our undergrad program, and that is the American Sign Language Studies minor. It's an 18-hour minor. One thing is that students do not have to have that minor completed prior to applying to our program, so they can work on their minor while they are in our program. We talked about the admission requirements briefly, so I'm going to go over those with you all, and I'm going to share the screen so that you can see those as I go through them. Okay, so the degree plan for this coming fall will be the degree plan 2020-2021. The semester that the student begins UTRGV studies, that's the first semester they enter UTRGV, is their catalog year and degree plan year. So this degree plan that I'm going to be talking about is for the brand new students coming in this fall 2020 and thereafter. So students, again, must apply and be formally accepted to our program. And it's real important that they go to academic advising, university academic advising, because there's so many resources like the ComD roadmap that really kind of suggests when to take courses so that they're aligned in time to apply to our program after their second year of university studies. The students do have to have these requirements completed the semester prior to applying, because they have to be met prior to the date of application. So if a student is applying in spring 2021, these 5 requirements must be met by this December 2020. If they're applying in spring 2022, these requirements would have to be completed by December 2021. So it's always a semester prior. The first requirement is the students must take Math 1342, which is Statistical Elementary Methods. And this is one of the courses in the core choices. So our major specifically requires Math 1342 with a C or higher. The second requirement is that students take 1 biology science course, but it must be either 1401 or 1402, which is general biology, or biology 2401 or 2402, which is anatomy and physiology. So they only need 1 from those choices. The third requirement is the students must take physics 1401 or chemistry 1311 with the lab 1111 and earn a grade of C or higher. The fourth requirement is the students must lack no more than 6 courses from the general education core. The support courses, we have 2 of those, a family and disability course and a medical terminology course, and they also need a free elective. If you recall, Math 1342 was the first requirement. That course has to be taken, and the 2 science courses, the biology, one of the biology choices listed, and either chemistry or physics of the ones listed, those 3 cannot be included as part of the 6 courses lacking at the time of application. So those have to be taken prior to applying, semester prior to. The 5th requirement is a minimum cumulative GPA of 2.8. So we highly recommend for all students who meet the eligibility requirements to apply, and that we're here to serve our students. If there are any questions, if you have a high school student, a freshman student, sophomore, whatever level, and they have questions about our program or are very interested in the profession, we have plenty of resources to refer them to help them learn about this exciting profession that appeals to individuals who want to help others and want to make that positive impact in someone's life. So that is an overview of our undergraduate program in ComD. And now after this, I will show you here in a minute our video from Dr. Rosemary Landa, who is the program coordinator for our new undergraduate program in American Sign Language Interpreting. And then Dr. Crutchfield will talk about the graduate program, and then we'll open it up for questions. This is Dr. Rosemary Landa.
Hello everybody, my name is Dr. Rosemary Landa. My sign name is like this, and I'm here today to discuss with you about the ASL Interpreting Program. ASL standing for American Sign Language Interpreting Program. And I'm going to talk about a few topics in brief, so feel free if you want to have more information, find us easily at our website, utrgv.edu/ASLI. So first of all, working as an ASL interpreter, you're really working between two languages and facilitating communication. The only difference is instead of working with two spoken languages, you're working with a spoken language to a visual gestural language, but it's the same concept of interpreting. Maybe you have a family member who only speaks Spanish and sometimes you need to interpret English to Spanish or Spanish to English. English is the same concept, working between two languages. Here at UTRGV, we offer a bachelor's degree in ASL interpreting, and you enter the program technically your third year. And so the first and second year, you're focusing more on general education core and taking ASL classes, because you do need to have proficiency in ASL before you begin to start interpreting. So it takes some ASL classes in general ed core, and if you want more specific information and you want to look at the admission requirements in more detail, feel free to look at our website. I do want to recognize those who already have some ASL proficiency. Perhaps you've already taken ASL classes during your high school years, or maybe you're a heritage signer. For example, your parents are deaf, or maybe you yourself are deaf. Please meet our program coordinator so that way we can take a look and place you in the right ASL course. We have an in-placement exam. We don't want for you to start from ASL 1, learning your ABCs and 1, 2, 3s if you already have some proficiency. And then those of you that don't have any proficiency, don't worry. We start with the very basics, so we will definitely help you gain those ASL skills. Now, career opportunities. You have a ton of career opportunities, and really you can pick any field to work with ASL in. We have medical, mental health, court, legal, VRI, working with deaf and blind, educational, K through 12, or in the college setting, trilingual. And then there's a mix of those, which is freelance, working in multiple settings. And then platform, usually they don't have a full-time employment opportunity for platform interpreters, but it's working in front of large audiences. Like recently with the COVID announcements, you've noticed that there's interpreters working with politicians making announcements, so that's kind of interpreting.
I'm so sorry, Ms. Salinas, to interrupt. This is Esme with the School of Medicine. I'm helping to moderate. For us on this side, we're seeing a lag on the video, and for some reason her speech.
From my experience, my personal experience, I started working with children with special needs while I was in college. I worked with one deaf student who was autistic, and then from there I worked at an independent living center where I taught various independent life skills to deaf teenagers, like driver's ed, money management, things like that. So you can really work in a variety of fields and specialize. Now, why choose interpreting? That slide's a little bit tricky because it's not really about money. You should really choose a profession where you have the passion, and if you love working with people, maybe interpreting is for you. But let me talk about the salary. The average annual mean salary is $51,000 for a student who's just graduated. And then of course the pay increases with two things, experience and then specialty certificates. Experience, of course, you can become, for example, a basic interpreter and move towards your advanced certificate. And then with specializations, we have certificates in, for example, trilingual interpreting, medical interpreting, and legal interpreting. And of course, all of those come with increased pay. So the upper 10% of ASL interpreters earn over $82,000 annually. I also want to share with you that we do have a ASL VRS center here in McAllen, which is right close by. So, and of course, this is the largest employer of ASL interpreters, and especially trilingual interpreters. It's definitely an in-demand job, so it's very beneficial to have this. This program is very beneficial to have here in the Valley, you'll have a job ready and waiting for you. And let me just talk briefly about what VRI interpreting is. It's basically you're interpreting phone calls. So you can interpret phone calls for people all over the nation, and you have no idea what kind of call is going to come in. Sometimes you're talking with or interpreting between a grandma and a granddaughter, a faculty Zoom meeting, calling a doctor's office to schedule an appointment. Right now with COVID going on, we have been interpreting for a lot of doctor consultations through the telenetwork services that they offer. So there's a variety of calls that come in, and you'll rarely get someone from the same area as you. So it's a very fascinating job, and I love it. And even if you feel VRI is not for you, then again, the other specializations such as medical, mental health, there's tons of fields you can specialize in.
Okay, that is a presentation from Dr. Landa about the overall program. And if you have any questions about the ASLI program, please reach out to our department office to get in contact with that or visit our website. And now Dr. Ruth Crutchfield will talk to you about our graduate program in communication sciences and disorders.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I'm very excited to be here with you all this morning. Like Ms. Salinas had mentioned, the undergraduate program provides a foundation for the graduate program. And in the undergraduate program, you learn the foundational concepts for communication sciences and disorders. And to be a completely independent speech-language pathologist, you must obtain a master's degree. In the US, you have to have a master's degree and you have to have certain certifications. And so your education truly is not complete in the field of speech-language pathology until you complete your master's program. There are basic areas of communication, language, articulation, which is speech sounds. So in the undergraduate program, your knowledge base is founded on language and speech sounds. And then as you move towards a graduate program, then you start learning about cognition, aphasia, swallowing, fluency, voice, and AAC more. So you see how it's just two of the various areas that we have in speech language pathology, which is why our program offers the variety of courses that you need to complete your master's education. I'm going to share my screen now to show you the basics of our program. So we have here, so I can make it bigger, there you go. So our applicants to our program at this time, they need to have a bachelor's degree in speech language pathology, undergraduate minimum GPA of 3.0 or higher. They must have a completed GRE, a test, a completion of all university and COMD, that's our program, department eligibility and application requirements. And those are set up through the graduate school. Submission of all required documents by the established deadline. And our deadline is always February 1st. Every spring, we accept applicants February 1st, once a year only. And it is a competitive student profile that we're looking for that will have all of this that we have here listed, in addition to community service, membership in student organizations, leadership positions in student organizations, exceptional GPAs, strong personal statement, and excellent letters of recommendation. All of those are the components of our graduate application. Our program is a cohort program. So when you come in, you're accepted with your cohort. You come in year one, the student is enrolled in lecture courses and clinical practicum, and then providing assessments and treatment and clinical practicum within our university speech and hearing center that we have on campus. In year two, in the fall semester, students are enrolled in one graduate course and one campus and advanced curricular clinical practicum at a UTRGV affiliated off-campus site in the RGV. So they are able to obtain clinical practicum hours outside, off-site in the community. And in year 2 in the spring, because there are no longer any courses that we're offering on campus, the student can also obtain practicum hours outside of the Rio Grande Valley area. So we have students that come from a different state or a different part of Texas. They can go back home for that last part of the year and finish up their practicum there. So that is in a nutshell how the program works. You come in for 2 years. 1 year you have courses, clinic in the Speech and Hearing Center, and then in the second year you're out in the community acquiring the rest of your hours, because our program is an accredited program through the American Speech, Language, and Hearing Association. You must have an accreditation from American Speech, Language, and Hearing Association to obtain your certificate of clinical competence and your license to practice. And that's what makes you a independent practitioner for speech language pathology. You must pass a praxis exam, which is a national exam, in order to obtain the certificate. And we are very proud of our students, because for the last 3 years we have obtained an average of 98.53% passing rate. We're almost at 100% again, so we're very happy with our passing rate, and we're very excited that our students are motivated to perform excellently in our program. So what do you need to be in our graduate program? What are some things that you need to do in high school to succeed? You need to have excellent study skills, you need to have excellent organizational skills, and you need to love to communicate, because as a speech language pathologist, we are always communicating, always figuring out a way to make that person excellent communicator. That is our job, that is what we do, and we have a communication that is the caring component of our field. So that in a nutshell is what our graduate program is about. So we can open it up for questions. We had set up our PowerPoint. We had set on a video where we had the salaries and all that. If you would like us to reiterate that, let us know. And we're open for questions.
I think Esmeralda, you had said something during the video of the interpretation studies program.
Yes, and I apologize for interrupting. It's just that as one of the moderators, the way I was seeing it on my screen, it was the speed of the video was really fast. I wasn't really able to understand, and then there was a lag on her signing. Not that I understand it, I would love to understand it, and so I'm not sure if anybody else had that problem or if it was just from my side. But perhaps maybe touching on or maybe just putting up some of the slides that talk about the salary or what have you might be kind of cool. But I do have a question, and that is with the degrees that are now available through UTRGV and what you just exactly talked about, can this degree be carried over into other professions? Like what are some of the other professions? Like if I'm interested in law or criminal justice or being a physician or being, what have you, especially with all of our ISD partners advising students, how can this degree benefit students looking into other areas?
The undergraduate degree?
Yes.
Okay. The undergraduate degree sometimes is a bridge for other professions. A lot of our other allied health professions, something like occupational therapy graduate program. If you take the courses, the prereq courses for that grad program, this program is a good base for that graduate program. Also in rehabilitative services, that's another program that it can go into. As far as having serving in other populations like a police department or something like that, the individual could work not so much as an assistant in speech language pathology, but rather in how to communicate maybe individuals that are arrested or how they come up to a certain situation. A policeman, maybe this person could possibly work with them to let them know about communication disorders, how they might be encountering someone with, for example, someone who presents with autism. They're going to have certain characteristics. And so how do you respond to someone like that, or to someone who stutters? So what are maybe the best ways to work with someone who presents with that? Dr. Crutchfield, do you want to add on?
Yes, many of our undergrad students have obtained jobs not really working as assistant speech language pathologists, but they work as case managers for places like Ms. Salinas was mentioning, through early childhood intervention where they know, or through public organizations where they can provide input and give specialty when it comes to what comes in with communication sciences and disorders. Our field is very specialized. It is very specialized, and if you have a master's degree, you can work in various areas. People who have master's degrees move on further and can obtain their doctorate degrees and move and work in different fields when it comes to science, when it comes to teaching at the university setting, when it comes to partnering up with an otolaryngologist, with an ear, nose, and throat specialist. It specializes and it branches out within the field. The way that it works with bachelors, they can go to other professions like going to OT and so on. But once you get into the masters, you're really in that specialty, which it's what makes us unique. Do we offer a part-time or distance learning graduate program in CONG for someone who works full-time? At this time, we do not offer that program. We are working on a program for next year. So we have that in the horizon, and we're working on getting that approved, and hopefully we'll start implementing that for next year. So that is something that is in the works, and we'll put that in place for next year. But right now, for February 2021, there is no program, no part-time program. It is a full-time program for graduate school.
I do want to add for the ASL interpreting program, I do have a PowerPoint that I could go through very quickly, and that way you can see what was actually shown on that video. Sometimes with technology, we just don't ever know how it's going to come out. Would you all like to see that PowerPoint quickly?
I think, let me just continue responding to Marisol.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do that after. Go ahead, Dr. Crutchfield.
Yes, Marisol. That's probably will work for you for next, probably not 2021, but 2022. So look at our website, and as soon as we launch that program, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of applicants that are in your same position that would like to apply, and you're exactly the type of candidate that we're looking for that program. Go ahead, Ms. Salinas. There's another question from Jorge. Let me answer. Would you then recommend that students try to see if an otolaryngologist will allow them to shadow? Not sure if that is something that can help students view the profession, or what kind of ways could you offer students to explore SLP? So many otolaryngologists work hand in hand with speech language pathologists, because we work with voice and we work with swallowing. And so that's why the otolaryngologist does the assessment, and then the speech language pathologist comes and does the assessment and partner with them, and then they implement a therapeutic program where they help that patient alleviate whatever symptoms they have in cooperation with the otolaryngologist. But you have to find the ENT that is partnered up with the speech pathologist so that you can have that observation. And that would help them see, so they can explore that aspect. That is the medical portion of speech language pathology. Many individuals see speech language pathology as just being educational, like working in the schools, working with children, working with pediatrics. However, our field is a medical profession where we work in the hospitals. Right now, we're in the front lines in the different hospitals, working with the patients with COVID-19, working with their swallowing, with their cognition, and with their ability to communicate with their families, which is, we know that is an area that is of need right now. And many of our students and many of our alumni are in the front lines doing that, and we're so proud of them for contributing and helping with in our community right now. But yes, medical is one aspect, and we have the educational and more the pediatric language side, but There's also the part of speech pathology that works with people who want to do accent reduction, or individuals who only want to, there are speech pathologists that work with actors who are working on finding different accents for the different roles that they're playing. So there's so many different areas that you can go into that as soon as you come in, then you can start to figure out which direction you want to go to. Ms. Salinas? You're welcome, Jorge.
So the American Sign Language Interpreting Program, will go back and look at these slides. So human communication is really a set of symbols, as Dr. Rosemary Landa was saying, applies to signs, sounds, and printed pictures or words that users agree have the same meaning. For ASL, an obvious difference from spoken language is the modality, which for ASL is visual and gestural. In the baccalaureate in ASL interpretation, the admission requirements are you become eligible to apply to the program once you've completed 45 semester credit hours towards a bachelor's degree. 45 semester credit hour requirement comes from a combination of the general education core coursework, Spanish translation or communication studies concentration coursework, and ASLI 1310, which is ASL 1, ASLI 1320, which is ASL 2, and ASLI 3, which is 2310. You should apply to the program. The semester ASL 3310 is in progress. And the application and application requirements can be found at www.utrgv.edu/ASLI. For students possessing a form of already having the ASL proficiencies, such as heritage signers, maybe they had a parent who also is hearing impaired or deaf, should consult with the ASL program coordinator prior to registering for the coursework so that they might have some of their courses substituted. This conversation, however, is going to happen on a case-by-case basis. Career opportunities, anywhere from court legal interpreting to medical mental health interpreting, freelance platform interpreting, educational interpreting, deaf-blind interpreting, video relay interpreting, and trilingual interpreting. And there are many, as you know, political and kinds of activities or emergencies where they need people to sign as well and serve as interpreter. Why choose interpreting? Choose students graduating with this degree can earn an average annual mean of salary of $51,000. And projected income increases with additional experiences and specialization. But as Dr. Landa has always said, you've got to pick your passion, and that this is why you're doing this, because you really want to work in this field. Specializations include trilingual ASL English Spanish, medical and legal interpreting. In 2017, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported the upper 10% of ASL interpreters earned over $82,000 annually. Furthermore, the RGV is home to one of the largest employers of ASL interpreter services, a video relay service VRS center. Sorensen Communications is in the city of McAllen, and since its inception in 2009 has continued recruitment efforts. So whether or not you choose to work at a VRI center, you still have the flexibility to choose from many specialized areas of employment. The national, state, and local job market numbers and trend support are all in your favor with this degree. Tips for success: what should you do in high school to get ready? Take courses towards your general ed core. Learn the ASL alphabet. There's a website, www.asl.ms, that has the alphabet there for individuals to learn. Tips for success, again, in high school: learn some basic sign. There's a great difference between sign languages and spoken languages. Many of us have passage languages that we can understand, but cannot speak very well. Hearing people are not used to perceiving language visually, and most importantly, they are a lot less exposed to sign language. That concludes the PowerPoint presentation for ASLI, and to contact Dr. Rosemary Landa at www.utrgv.edu/ASLI. And now we can proceed with more questions about our programs. Let's see, we stopped with which one, Dr. Crutchfield?
Yes, we finished with Jorge's question, and Ms. Lozano Esmeralda has added contact information for the Texas Speech Language and Hearing Association. The Texas Speech Language and Hearing Association is our state organization, and we are all members of that organization from our program. It is an organization that provides us resources, continuing education, information, and it also, they are our advocates for legislation when it comes to something that we need our voice heard in legislation, when it comes to insurance and reimbursement issues. Tisha speaks for us and goes to the Capitol, and they fight for us, for our field and for our profession. The Texas Speech Language and Hearing Foundation that Ms. Esmeralda Lozano has shared with you all there, they offer scholarships and support and research support. So they do scholarships and they do research support for individuals who are practicing in speech language pathology in the field. And they also host a career day for schools.
Yes, and they can offer free publications. So for those of you who are asking about, how can we share this career with our students, I would say click on that and save it to your what do you call it when you save it to your banner, and you can request there. You do have to fill in an email and set up like a free account, but they'll send you these publications for free so you can post. That's the first step. So thank you, ladies, for letting me interrupt. I apologize.
No worries.
I'd like to also add the American Speech Hearing Association organization at asha.org. There is a specific link for students, and within that student link, there's one for high school students. So it gives really good information, and there's also really great videos from students that are in programs, and also professionals talking about the program and the various types of specialties one can go into. So it's a wonderful webpage, the American Speech Hearing Association, asha.org, and go into the student link.
There's a question, Ms. Salinas, are there any programs in high school that students can start to prepare for your program? What type of activities do you recommend high school students participate in to help them in this career?
Would be really good to have some high schools have some kind of where they talk about health occupations. That's probably a good program to get into. But I would suggest real highly that they start taking the prereqs that would suffice both for the core for the degree and the Math 1342 elementary stats and the one biological science that we listed.
Mm-hmm.
Getting prepared with these, taking some of those courses that they could take while they're still in high school, and then also volunteering perhaps at a speech pathologist's office or a rehab center where speech pathology services are, or maybe even if they're in their own school that they're in, that there is probably a speech pathologist that is serving individuals on that campus. Maybe they can shadow the speech pathologist or shadow a speech pathologist in a pediatric rehabilitation center. And also just researching about our field. Like I said, the asha.org organization has a wonderful website with one specific link for students. And once you get in there, you just keep going and going because there's so much information. It's just fascinating what our fields can offer. And so getting prepared in high school would be doing some of that research, shadowing someone, visiting with a speech pathologist, or contacting us in our department. We'd be happy to talk to someone, anybody who's interested in the program very early on as they're in high school, and we can talk to them about admission requirements and what the field is about and what they can do in high school to prepare.
I've posted the ASHA website on the chat.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And do those courses transfer from STC? Yes, as long as they they'll transfer in, but you need to make sure they're transferring in as the numbers and the course names that we require. So as long as it transfers into Math 1342 with a C or higher, and transfers in as one of the biological sciences that is listed, which is at the University 1406, 1407, or 2401 or 2408. 02. So either one of those with a C or higher. The physics as well and the chemistry as well, as long as they transfer in as the numbers and the course names that we require on our admission requirements.
Ms. Salinas, if I can expand on that, the reason for this question is that when it comes to specific careers like medicine or sometimes even nursing, when a student takes the mathematics or a science class at a community college, let's say, the general recommendation is for them to consider retaking it for better content preparation, for licensing exams, and just to get to that next level. But in this case, perhaps that is not something that is as a specific recommendation. So if the STC courses or TSTC courses in the mathematics in the core curriculum, when it comes to general requirements, is transferable, then that's enough for you. That's good enough for your program, correct?
Right, as long as it comes in as the course is listed. One resource that UTRGV offers is on the assist page. You don't have to be a student at UTRGV, but you can go to the UTRGV webpage and get on an assist, but not log in. At the very bottom of the page, there's a transfer equivalency guide, so they can tell what course they're taking at whatever campus. They select the campus they're at, and they can look at what that course would transfer in as. That's a nice resource on our webpage, on the UTRGV webpage. Oh, yeah. And now the Math 1342 is a different stats course from the previous years. And the Math 1342 is in the core choices for math. And for our major, it's the specified math that they must take. So as long as it transfers in as Math 1342 with a C or higher, and it's elementary statistical methods, or the chemistry and physics, or the biologies, all of those need to transfer in as the numbers listed. If they have any questions, they can always call us and we'll guide them through that. Let's see.
About ASL information, are there any events or opportunities for students interested in the ASL interpreter career to get more exposure to the deaf hard of hearing community? I know they have a club, right?
Yes, but Dr. Landa is so involved with the community. She has a coffee club events. Well, now that we've gone with this with the COVID virus and all, she's adapted that. But she is so involved with the community. There are numerous events that students can attend and the community attends. So it really would be of great interest for a student that really wants to know about ASL to contact Dr. Rosemary Landa. She's phenomenal in the things that she does for the community, and certainly would be a great mentor for a high school student. So please contact her, or for any student, to please contact her. She's a wealth of information, wonderful person to talk to.
I have
a quick question. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Cantu, go ahead, sir.
Okay. I have, well, two questions, and I think one can be answered by Dr. Crutchfield, the other one by Ms. Salinas.
Okay.
For the bachelor's in ComD, you mentioned that, you need one biological science, either chemistry or physics, or you can do either Gen Bio or A&P. For the biological sciences, would you maybe, in your professional opinion, recommend the anatomy instead of the Gen Bio, particularly A&P1, since that one typically covers muscular, neuro, and special senses?
Most certainly. We strongly recommend, that's a great question. We strongly recommend the 2401 biology, which is anatomy and physiology. But a lot of students have already taken a biological science, so we don't want to restrict them if they've already done so. But if they haven't chosen one yet, the biology 2401, which is anatomy and physiology, is really the one we strongly recommend, because it does have to do with what they're going to be studying as well. Our courses on neuroanatomy, survey of neurological disorders, and anatomy and physiology in speech language pathology. There's courses that they would certainly have really good background if they take the Bio 2401, Anatomy and Physiology from the core. But we're not, we give them the choice because a lot of students already decide, when they decide to be a major, have already taken a biological science. But we certainly recommend strongly the ANP one, which is 2401. Thank you. That's a really good question.
The other question for Dr. Crutchfield for the master's program, what is logistically does it look like in terms of accepting students into the master's from other universities? A lot of the programs that we've talked about, yes, of course, they're UTRGV and whatnot, but do you get a lot of students applying from other universities? Because we have our students for sure apply to STC and UTRGV. That's like that's a given for sure. But we do like to push our students beyond the Valley and look into Texas A&M, UT Austin, UT Dallas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what do you see in terms of outside of UTRGV for applicants?
We receive applications from all over the nation, truly, to our program. Our program has a multicultural emphasis, and in the ever-changing world that we live in, it draws individuals from all over the nation to apply. We get a lot of applicants from the state of Texas. The majority are the state of Texas. We get people from all over. We have people from New York, from different areas that apply. Does that not mean that they necessarily will actually come to the Valley? That's actually their choice. You know, the program is, the admission process is fair, and we look at all the applicants. And we have been seeing a variation of in our census. Sometimes we have 80% Valley, sometimes we have 50% Valley. You know, it just depends on the application pool and whatever comes in at the time. And that's why when they get into the program, whichever program that they want to come here, they're here and they're getting their degree, we want them to be disciplined in their studies so that they can be competitive, because every master's program is difficult to get into for the field. And so we want them to have a strong foot forward. And many times we lose some of our students that we would love to have here. We lose them to other universities because they want to get out of the Valley. They want to go to San Antonio, they want to go to Austin, or they want to go to Dallas. And we're like, oh, we're going to miss them, because we really, we get, comfortable. We enjoy having our students with us, but we do have that variability in our census. We can say it's 100% UTRGV, it's not. For example, for this cohort, it's basically split in half. You know, I'm myself and Ms. Carrie Gonzalez, we are the graduate admissions co-chairs for this year. And this cohort, it's literally split in half. And in the last cohort, we were about 70% Valley, 30% outside, but we're going to save half of the seats for the Valley and half of the, no, there's nothing like that. It's just what comes in the door, and whoever is the most amazing applicant and gives us the best letters of recommendations, amazing writing, and just an excellent student. We want students who are going to be caring speech language pathologists. So we look at the whole application, and it's basically like a blind admission process, because we don't really know them that well, you know, so we're just trying to see who the best applicant is, and that's who comes in.
Well, thank you, appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. I have a quick question, and that was a little earlier in your presentation, you discussed how some of the students can gain experience in like a clinical setting, and how that would be, you know, something that's really great for their experience and their growth. How are you finding that your students are addressing this during this time with COVID? You know, what are some options, if any, for them to gain some type of practical experience from home, perhaps virtually?
So right now, what we're doing is a lot, we're doing a lot of telehealth. Everyone who's practicing right now because of COVID is doing telehealth, or they're practicing using PPE. In the schools even, in the hospitals, in the nursing homes, in the skilled nursing facilities, in acute care, they're either doing telehealth, which is they're doing therapy through the online, some type of secure online system, or they're doing therapy through using PPE. So our students who want to shadow, shadow and learn about speech pathology, they will contact whatever area they want to observe, and they will guide them on what the process is. So then that person will tell them, well, right now our school is doing telehealth. So you can observe, you're welcome to observe. They have to follow all the guidelines that the school has. Every school district has a set of things that the student has to do before they even get to observe. Every clinic does. There's the confidentiality and HIPAA things that have to be done. But every school has to do that. They can either do it through telehealth, and they're going to be welcome to join into that, or they're going to be welcome to come on site and follow all the PPE that has to be done through COVID. So those are the two risks right there. The COVID is what's happening, and it's something that whether the facility is going to say, no, we're not shadowing, we're not allowing anybody come in because of this risk right now, or they will allow it because we don't know how long. Right now we're in a very difficult situation. We don't know what direction we're going to go in, and I think everybody is just trying to do the best that they can and give our students the best experiences that we have with the situation that we're in right now. That's a very good question. I do believe that the telehealth, the telemedicine, and having them come and shadow in that way is probably the safest way until this pandemic subsides a bit more. Ms. Salinas, would you like to add something else?
That pretty much covers it. I mean, right now we're in a situation where all of us are pretty trying to give the best services possible, and that's done through telehealth, teletherapy. And so basically, if someone wants to observe someone and they're able to, they're allowed to, that would be the best way to do it as far as shadowing is concerned.
And I have actually a suggestion that I would like for you both to possibly consider, and that's for the benefit of everybody here at this conference, and even as it could be possibly something for recruitment for you, would be to maybe have like a Zoom recording of your students, in particular in this time, and how they're proceeding within their profession and in their externships or what have you, internships. Just to gain that student perspective. It's a unique experience, frankly, one that I hope we never have to go through again after this, but it could provide some amazing step off points for our high school kids to learn from, and it might ignite an idea that they may want to pursue within these programs. So I think it'd be cool to have some of your, to hear your students' perspectives during this time. And I don't know, food for thought. It just came to me, and I wanted to share because I think it'd be beneficial to a whole lot of people.
That would be really beneficial.
Agree.
We can have something put up on our website at some point as well. So that, and then for next time that we meet in this type of venue, that we could do that as well. I think that's always a good thing for other individuals or high school students, freshmen, sophomores, to hear from the student that is in the program. So how did they get into the undergrad program? What did they do to get into the grad program? And what was their experience like? That's an excellent suggestion. We certainly can look at incorporating that into some of our either our website or this venue next time around.
Well, we've got about 6 minutes left. Do any of our participants have any other questions? You can either unmute yourself to ask, or you can ask it in the chat. Okay, well, I'm assuming Isela or Dr. Alvarado, would you guys like to come on in and maybe wrap up our session today?
Yes, I'm here. So thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Dr. Lenningham is here. I guess he's still having issues with his internet. Anyway, it's about that time.
He's alive.
There is a lunch
Awesome.
session again. You want to say a few words, Dr. Lenningham?
Well, no, you were going to say what I was going to say. We've got one more session at 1 o'clock with the Department of Occupational Therapy. Dr. Roel Garcia will be on with us. And don't forget, you've got videos with all this information as well as these recordings. So I want to say thank you to Sonia and Dr. Ruth Crutchfield for your excellent presentation. I was listening, but it's been one of those days my internet went wonky, so thank you all and enjoy your quick break. We'll